Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. I'm not sure if you have noticed, but Tesla has been playing chess. That is because in the last 2 weeks, both Ford and GM have struck a deal with Tesla to use their chargers. And basically, they are moving their standard. Whatever charger they're using, they're going to be able to start using Tesla chargers, which means that Tesla just got a whole lot more powerful. In this video, we need to break down what is exactly going on, why is this such a big deal, and how it can change the way that you drive an electric vehicle here in the next 10 to 15 years, and why this could be one of the most significant developments for the company as well. Now, let's go ahead and just quickly break it down. Electric vehicles. Tesla runs that market right now, and they may be running it for quite some time. Why is that? That's because Ford, GM, Toyota, Honda, whoever else, in the 80s and 90s, when they had an opportunity to create electric vehicles and build out electric charging stations across the country, they didn't. They just didn't. They should have, but they didn't. Tesla stepped up and did it. And not only did Tesla do it, what they did, and the most important thing that they have done, I'm using every term of did and done, y'all get the point here. The most important thing though, is that they built a large network of electric charging stations. That is the key, because what is your electric vehicle good for if you can't get from point A to point B? I live in Raleigh. I don't know if I can make it to Charlotte if there are no charging stations between here and there, depending on what type of vehicle that I'm driving at that point in time. So what they have done is, obviously, Tesla has the largest, most reliable charging station and charging networks. Ford said, as well as GM, hey, I could create my own and build it out and have what I think is the largest charging station network out there, or I cannot build that and I can just pay to have my vehicles work with Tesla because they've already built it. That is basically what these two companies have done. So now, starting in 2024 for GM, they are going to move to, I think they call it the American Standard Charging. It's an acronym. Y'all get the point here. But basically, they're going to fit their cars to work with Tesla charging stations. This is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to give Tesla a lot more power because they are now going to do what I call controlling the rail. What I mean by controlling the rail is anything that's going to work has to come through Tesla from this point forward. Now, obviously, they can continue building out their own things in the future, but right now, they are the gatekeeper. An example of this is both Netflix and especially Meta. Meta made money, aka Facebook, through their app, through digital advertising. They will collect your data and then serve you ads. And you click on it and they make money, so on and so forth. Well, the problem here is, still to this day for the most part, Meta does not own the rail. If you want to get on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, what do you have to do? You have to go to somebody else's app store, Apple or Android, and you're going to have to access their products through an iPhone, through an Android, through somebody else's laptop. So you're talking Microsoft, you're talking Alphabet, you're talking Apple. And whatever it is Apple wants to do in terms of privacy settings, so now your ads are less effective, you're going to lose money. Well, if they just decide to take you off the App Store or come up with a different competitor, these are issues for you. The exact same thing for Netflix as well. Netflix has an additional gatekeeper in the TV maker. So you're talking about Samsung, you're talking about Roku, and others. There was a fight between, I think it was Roku and YouTube TV. And for a while, Roku said, look, we're going to take you off our app. You're going to take you off the TV. And Alphabet was like, ooh, that's going to be an issue, right? It depends on who controls the rail. And right now, for TV, Alphabet doesn't own a TV. Now they got laptops through their Chromebook. They have tablets and stuff like that. So they still have an avenue, but it's still going to be, or still in that case, would have been an issue. So who controls the rail? He or she who controls the rail has the power. And the fact that two of the largest automakers in the US, Ford and GM, said, hey, look, we need to partner with y'all because y'all are more reliable. Y'all have already built out the infrastructure. Is that mission that they are already behind, and they would rather partner up with them than try to fight against them. That is what is going on. Now, in terms of value, between 2030 and 2035, this could be anywhere between an additional $3 to $5 billion for Tesla. Though these are estimates, all of these numbers haven't come out. We're likely going to have to wait for several earnings reports to see if this is added into their revenue and what that means for Tesla. Now, all of this stuff is very interesting, is very good for Tesla, but that is not the only thing out there. There are some negatives and some pullbacks here, both for Ford and GM, but also for Tesla. The pullback here is, or the downside is, there have been lines at a lot of these charging stations. I'm sure Tesla is building more, but now I was exclusive, right? It was just me and my Tesla. I don't own one yet. I don't know if I'm looking at one. We'll see. Anyway, aside from that, if you have a Tesla now, sometimes there have been videos circulating for years now where you are in line for a long time trying to get your car charged. Well, now you're adding a whole bunch of Fords and a whole bunch of GMs. And I don't know about y'all, Ford and GM put a whole lot more vehicles out than Tesla does every year. Now, not all of those are electric yet, but they have the capacity to do that. So those lines could get significantly longer if Tesla does not ramp up production on more charging stations, which they could be doing because they're looking to get about $7.5 billion from the infrastructure bill to do something similar, to expand their charging network. So we will see if those two things balance out. But on face value, I'm really, doubling, maybe even tripling the number of people I now need to charge, and that can make my wait time a lot longer. That is not fun. I don't know what other choice you have if you have an electric vehicle, but that is going to be one thing that you do have to pay attention to. The other thing that I wrote down here is control of supply. Now, if I am Ford and I am GM, that's a disadvantage to me. It's an advantage I get to get my cars out there now, and it gives me a little vote of confidence. Because now, if I don't buy a Tesla, because I know Tesla charging stations are out there, I can say, hey, I might go with the Mustang Mach-E. I don't know what GM has, maybe an electric Cadillac or something. But in either case, I say, hey, I can go with one of those, and I have the comfort of knowing I can also stop at a charging station that has Tesla on it. That may be a comfort to me. But now I'm limited to Tesla, which means that, and we know how Elon Musk has been, he hasn't been the most stable person. What if I'm sure they have a contract, but y'all get the point. If they say, we want to go in a different direction, or the contract terminates in 2025 and we are not going to renew it because y'all are making too many vehicles and you're catching up to me, then what do you do? What happens if Tesla decides to cut you off? And as your main supplier, what is going to happen to your vehicle owners? How are you going to change that? And then also remember that Tesla charges money. Charging ain't free. They do charge money. What if they start to raise prices for your vehicle holders and have Tesla at a relative discount? What happens in that case? How are people going to deal with that? Now again, perhaps this is in a contract that we are not privy to at this point in time, but it does force you to lean on them and be a little bit dependent on how fast they build, how many they build, and whether they build to your advantage and not just theirs. So that's something that you definitely want to consider there as well. Which company would I buy? Which one makes sense? I think Tesla still makes sense because now it's starting to act right in terms of how it is performing, and that is how the stock market has performed so far. I will give you these numbers real quick. Last 6 months for Tesla is up 42%, but over the last year it is only up 2.3% because Tesla took a tumble, a very big one, because its CEO was making a lot of noise last year. GM is negative 3.2% in the last 6 months, negative 1.9% in the last year. It has been very lackluster, and the only one, not the only one, but the only stock that's been positive in the last 6 months and in the last year is Ford at 5.5% in the last 6 months and 2.3% in the last year. I do own Ford. This little piece of paper sort of makes me proud, even though I'm still down like 6% total. So if you're looking to invest in one of them, I would just probably go with Tesla. That's just where I would go. GM has just been kind of behind. Ford had its moments. I have a little faith in Ford, but I also could be biased because I own shares of Ford. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure of how much longer I'm going to keep my shares of Ford, because June is coming up. That's when I'll come back and reevaluate my portfolio. So I'm a little iffy on it. But if I had to choose, I had to invest today, Tesla I think is the obvious choice. They are still growing. They still have a large market. And right now, they are cornering the market as well. The last question, the last thing that I would consider as I'm looking at this is, what do these other automakers do? Because this is a iPhone, Android moment when it comes to chargers. Remember that Android used to use the regular USB charger and then moved to like USB-C. That's the new standard. And for example, right now, I don't have an Android, but my old Android could charge my PlayStation controller, can charge the camera, can charge a whole bunch of other stuff, and it can charge everything except for my iPhone. That's a problem, right? Well, what we have here is Tesla, GM, and Ford are moving to a specific standard, and now what's going to happen with the other automakers, BMW, Hyundai, Kia, and every other electric vehicle maker that's going to start producing vehicles. Are they going to move towards the Tesla standard and be beholden to them? Are they going to do that and kind of give Tesla more money, or they're going to try and have their own? And then what happens when those two things are split? And if they become split, because they still have to make that decision. If that were to occur, what happens if you are a household with 2 electric vehicles? Are you now going to put 2 electric vehicle chargers in your home and pay for that installation? Or is this going to force everybody to choose a side and do things that are more conducive to that, right? I had to choose a side to move to iPhone because I was left out of all the family group chats. Okay, so if me and my wife are looking for a car, are we now going to say, look, Tesla has all the chargers, we all need to do Tesla, Ford, or GM to make things simple? What about other family members? And we're talking, again, 10, 15 years into the future. So if let's say I'm going to my parents' or my in-laws' house, y'all got a charge over there, right? Y'all got, if they have a Ford, a GM, or a Tesla, maybe I want to do that so that when I drop the kids off, I can charge my car there, right? So start to think about those things and how it can shift everything over the next several years. So it's not just a great news story, stock jump today. It is how we can view this entire landscape here over the next several decades. So I'm interested to see what happens. Again, I'll see whether or not I'm going to hold on to Ford. I think Tesla is a solid buy right now, especially as things have calmed down with Elon and his selling and whatever he's doing at Twitter, he's doing at Twitter. But Tesla seems to be on the good foot finally. All right. That is it for me today. In our members only, we are likely going to do, I'm thinking of doing either a single company breakdown or like a top 5 list. Y'all let me know what y'all looking for and we'll put that out this weekend. But if you're not in the members only, you missing out. If you want to join, that link is right here. And also the last thing I'll say, as this video has been long now, I'm sorry. The Plutus Awards the nominations are still open. That link is down in the description. So make sure you check that out. I just click, put in your email, and then list me for whatever categories you think make sense. I put down a short list for other categories I think make sense to kind of help, copy and paste from there. All right, that is it for me. Have a great weekend. I will talk to y'all on Monday. Bye.